All right, all right, all right. What's up, folks? What's up? What's up? What's up, man? Like I tried to make the video earlier on this very subject here, dealing with Donald Trump's disastrous trip into China. Seems to be the real superpower of the world, global superpower China, who Donald Trump runs over there begging them for, an assistance for peace with Iran, who is embarrassing Donald Trump, who is causing major havoc on the U.S. economy. And Donald Trump run over there as him and his defense secretary and them can't develop any type of plans. They think they know everything. And now they have Iran totally embarrassing them and totally destroying the American economy. I mean, America is in the gutter, homie. America is in the gutter. And the only thing stopping for everything just from crashing out the bottom as of yet, which is slowly approaching that point, is the fact that America is a very resilient place. The American citizen is a very resilient person, especially the Black American. Other lower income Americans are very resilient. They can hold, but they're doing a lot to artificially prop up this goddamn nation. But the economy is definitely going into the dumps, and it is bound to collapse. It is bound to collapse. No different than what we see, and I hate to use it as a reference, but what we see with the World Trade Centers. You're just bound to see that. So you see the buildings remain, resilient, try to remain strong, but structurally the buildings are becoming weak. And after so long, it's no longer where they can hold up the weight, and everything goes peeling away and crashing to the ground. That's what you have happening, a crashing and burning of the society by an idiot who came in here and duped everybody. This is definitely the wolf in sheep clothing is what Trump has been to America. But he goes to these other countries and he know to tuck his tail and get in his goddamn boy ass place. Get in his boy ass place, because China right now is running shit. And that's where Trump ran over there. China, followed by Iran, who is running shit. And Trump went over there begging them goddamn Chinese to help him out. And China said, "Oh, this motherfucker want to come over here. This is the perfect time for me to tell him what the hell he better do as it relates to Taiwan." Trump came over there, and that president said they was in there squabbing. That makes sense of why Trump whole ass was in sheer terror, homie. Trump was over there shaking in his goddamn boots in China. And that's why I'm in there. I made a video because just looking at him. Like, Trump, blink twice. Give a head nod or something. Nod your head. Wink at the cameras if those people are holding you captive. Like, something is happening. And then they say that Trump security squad got banged on by the Chinese personnel. He says, "Where do you get?" I know, Andrew Charles, I'm always on point, my brother. And you want to know the sources, but I can't give you the sources. Part of the source is a brain. That's what it is. But let me go into this one real quick. Let me get this thing for Donald Trump lovers and the people who be wondering, like, damn, how does this nigga know so goddamn much shit? He says some shit, and then the shit happens. Is this guy an CIA operative? Is he part of the intelligence community? No, I'm just part of the intelligence. Just part of the intelligence. Simple as that. But these fools over there getting hemmed up and shit, getting put in a goddamn place by the Chinese. By the Chinese. While Trump over there being an Epsteinian, over there marveling over underage little girls. Very odd behavior. And that's the one thing that stood out to Donald. But the whole time looking at this one, the Donald looked shook. He looked shook. No such thing as a halfway crook, but there is with a Donald Trump. So let me get into this heated and physical clash with Chinese police and Secret Service agents. This shit had Trump shook. This shit had that boy shook up. Let your boy play this one, especially for Andrew Charles, who has doubts. He says you just make shit up. Andrew Charles, I remember for a long time you start coming around here after, you know, I had to embarrass you and speak this real shit to you. And the fact that everything you've been saying about political shit, global shit, and you've been so goddamn wrong that the only thing you can do is tag back along, my brother. Because you realize all the shit that you get on here and state in the chat that you write, you're always fucking wrong. I don't know if it's dealing with a Tennessee education system or what the hell it could be. But it's just so unfortunate that you're always wrong. But let me play this video because I ain't make up the shit about your boy Trump. I know y'all love Trump. But the fact that Trump is getting his ass handed to him and embarrassed, he looked terrified in China, and that's why he hurried up and left this shit. Let's go in there. He didn't get nothing done. Hold on, let me play.
I mean, the Secret Service
Hold on, let me play.
Jacob with TM.
Some heated and physical.
Hold on, this is
Jacob with TMZ. How are you?
Triple OG.
Some heated and physical clashes between the Secret Service and the Chinese police on the basically at the back doors of these events, including one very physical standoff where a Secret Service officer was being prevented from taking his weapon in as part of the protective detail. But things have all been ironed out. And as far as we know, the schedule has not been changed because of that, Martha.
Yeah, well, it's a tense meeting. I think that is.
They said, hey, whole ass American, whatever the hell y'all are, Secret Service, here goes some cap guns, hoes. Because if we want to get your boy, you ain't busting shit over here in China, goddammit. Hold on, let us take these bullets because I think they belong to us. These motherfuckers got made in China bullets. Chinese ain't play with that boy. Told him, hey, homeboy, give us these motherfucking goddamn guns right now. And they handed that shit over and gave them motherfuckers cap guns and Nerf guns. Trump over in that motherfucker looked like he ready to shit his goddamn panties. Trump was ready to shit his panties. He a G-string wearer. That's why you little fucking fruity motherfuckers love the motherfucker. You done seen this motherfucking G-string in the summer and shit. That's what you done seen. Let me go into this shit real quick. Let me go back over here so y'all can see the face of terror. Let's go look into the look of a fake tough guy looking fucking terrified. Terrified. Went over to China and didn't get a goddamn thing. They didn't get shit. But they cap guns. They ain't get nothing but cap guns. Let's look into this shit. Look at your boy face. Look at your boy face. That shit crazy. I didn't know the Chinese dude was this damn tall, man. He tall, he healthier than Trump. He was, and then he was playing this game with Donald. He played this game with Donald, man. And I know you need walkers of Trump gonna cry over this shit. And so this fool, when they was walking to this staging area for cameras for the media, he out there out walking Trump. Trump old fucking heavyweight golf cart riding ass in there huffing and puffing. Down there caught a heart attack. Down there went a cardiac arrest because the Chinese president is just walking him too fast, walking his whole ass like a dog. Check this out. Look at Trump's face.
Wait.
Look at it.
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Look at it. Look at it.
You talk about Taiwan, Mr. President? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, did you talk about Taiwan?
Thank you, President.
Look at this little wobbly ass, motherfucking wobbly, topply motherfucker. That fool down there killed Trump on a walk and then had his police, not even his special guard. He had the police punk the Secret Service agents and gave all the motherfuckers cap guns and confiscated their bullets and guns because the shit was probably made in China. Let me go into the chat, man. I can't wait to read the cry baby lovers of Trump because that's when I go to work. And then Matthew says, waiting on Mark Summers, and says, and it's been ran through mom to enter the chat. That's a fact. And he says, it looked like the world order, your usual suspects, all these oligarchs, these Charles Schwab types says were at the Chinese meeting and they didn't get shit. What they did give China is the top rated chips. Trump begged China to please don't give Iran any more weapons. Please don't give Iran. Don't help Iran. Please. I know you and Iran are close friends. And then that motherfucking Chinese president said, hey, boy, you ain't over here to talk no Iran shit. We here to talk Taiwan, and you better stay out this shit. Or else you're going to have other problems. Oh, my God. Economic disaster, homie. And niggas listen to these dummies talk politics on this channel and everywhere else. And I be just listening. And once I listen, I process and decipher, and like all these motherfuckers sound stupid. And also knowing that all these motherfuckers are going to regret the fuck out of it. And a lot of them are going to be fucking challenged and battling their cognitive dissonance because the truth wants to penetrate the little shallow brains of these flat surface brained ass motherfuckers, y'all. Y'all brains is shaped in flat earth design. And therefore, the signals really don't connect and bounce around anywhere. They just shoot throughout the damn brain and you misfire and shit. It's going to be so hard of you battling what you believe into this guy as being your God, your truth, your guide, your Lord and Savior, your Redeemer and shit. You read about him in your Trump Bibles and shit. And now you've been radicalized in the belief of Trump. But now it's all falling apart because you've seen the whole world around y'all fall apart. And even for you white folks, who he is doing nothing but white work. And that white work is becoming disastrous. That's what I talk about, white supremacy. It is felt all throughout Europe. The conquest and shit of other nations through these weirdos and development of atoms and other minerals in the earth and using it to bomb people, it ain't achieved too much of shit. It ain't achieved too much of shit. These fools crying about what they women doing and this and that. These motherfuckers come to a realization, and a hard one to accept, that Trump has not only effed y'all, but Trump has royally fucked himself. He says, look at what the UN calls Taiwan. No, Andrew, you can type it in there. And if I see your answer and I can gauge whether or not, is Andrew correct or is he wrong? But I'm reading the chat right now. I ain't typing up shit. I'm about to cook y'all Trump knee walkers. And based on y'all comments, I'm going through royal cooking. And welcome, Andrew Charles, because a comment a while ago is what had you leaving as I embarrassed you through true schooling and educating. And then L5 player in the building, salute. Andrew Charles says, where do you get your information from? From the Book of Congress, goddammit. And then he says, you make this shit up. Andrew Charles, I'm always right, my brother. And it's unfortunate for you. You have to hear me. And then you be like, damn, this motherfucking black ass fool is always goddamn right. I've been raised as a white man. The black man's supposed to believe anything I say. Well, not this one, motherfucker. And then Matthew says, Andrew Charles says, Black Scout Survival made a video about this. Says he's a conservative military bro. Says, and I think you be surprised at how skeptical he had. Says that how skeptical he, I guess it's supposed to be, is of how skeptical he is of this cheetah press. And Andrew Charles says, when did you embarrass me? Andrew Charles, why are you trying to fake like you don't remember this total annihilation? Salute to Anwar. Salute. This total annihilation that I delivered upon you some months ago. You don't remember? You stopped coming around here and shit, right? And then that crybaby shit you was doing, I was talking about that little bitch made motherfucker Charlie Kirk. Think you was one of the motherfuckers crying over that Charlie Kirk shit. But you know that little bitch that's laying in the dirt somewhere? Hoe ass Charlie Kirk, one got smoked by a white boy. The same type of dude who beat Trump mama up, a white boy. Like, man, let's talk some old white racism shit. And how everybody got all type of shit to say about black. And if you allow people to control the narratives about black because you don't have your wisdom and knowledge up as a black person, then you feed into these Chud the Builder type motherfuckers of the world. Chud ran into a motherfucker that banked him in his mouth the other day and caused that coward motherfucker Chud to blast his own goddamn self. It's time to put motherfuckers in their place like the people before us used to do. I mean, shit. New age pussies like Trump and his old resurgence, like all of a sudden They take old pussy made motherfucker born in Manhattan, living in a high rise to fake like he tough because of the influence of programming niggas through TV, social media, that all of a sudden motherfuckers become tough guys and want to use the N word like they forgot, their parents forgot to tell them that they used to use that N word, and that N word used to get their asses dug the fuck out. And this is the reason why people want to call what they call where they see black people at as ghettos. Only Jews lived in ghettos, and that was some German shit. But what people love to call as ghettos is these black communities you live in. Don't forget white people lived in them. And there is a singular reason why they don't live in these communities no more. But then it also goes into why there's a reason why where people use the term where you see gentrifying of the black community. No, that is called a return of these white folks who ran out when black folks used to put a beat on them. And this was the lesson I give my kids this morning. We was going over the Crip Mac interview, and I was talking about Crip Mac and the way he uses language. And then it made me go into about our communities and going into with them about white flight and about when I do the episode about South Central and basing it off the high school that I come from, which is a world famous high school in Los Angeles. And this is the way throughout all of Los Angeles, Detroit, Gary, Indiana, any major city in America where you see now is the predominantly black areas. And also because you got a new arrival of Spanish-speaking immigrants are the same communities. The Spanish speakers are new to this shit too. And even they have to be schooled. But when I'm doing this episode about South Central and doing it based on the world famous Washington High School, let me get it right, George Washington Preparatory High School in South Central, where many movies have been made on it. Denzel Washington is referenced. His first major role in the movie is based on the high school that I come from in South Central. The high school known for Tookie Williams and Raymond Washington and a number of other founders of the Crip organization, and even people who are not just on the gang member, but that's what it's associated with, because when anything is black, there's negative to attach to it. But going into the same area of why this black school is called a preparatory high school, and that can give you kind of a little hint at some shit. Of when we looking at this high school from 1957, I think I went late in the 1950s, because I want to go before the riots in 1957, 58 or something. This school is, you don't even see a trace of black at this fucking school because you deal with redlining and all this other. I got school white folks in this motherfucker, especially young whites, even older whites, who love to rewrite history and have this revisionist shit and act like the little Florida governor and act like these bitches Hegseg and Trump in them. New arriving offsprings of immigrants who want to rewrite American history. You can't shape American history because it's black, homie. But so when you look at this school in this time period of late 1950s, right before you cross into the 60s, of where there's turmoil inside of American society. So all of South Central is all fucking white. The neighborhood is predominantly white, and you have a few Asians in there. As the Asians start coming back, because there was probably a larger Asian population in South Central before they were rounded up following World War II in Korea. Let's keep shit funky. That's why it's important to pay attention in fucking school and have good teachers to teach shit. So now we move into the 60s as racial climate becomes tense around this fucking country. Why? Because blacks are starting to have upward mobility. And when blacks have upward mobility, you begin to see this tension shit inside of American politics. And dumb niggas who supported this mega shit, that Tariq Nasheed bullshit, FBA shit, get tricked into that dumb shit is once blacks have mobility. Black president, all this other shit is spurring as a fucking fearful call of seeing blacks and their second rise in the shit. A black man and president and what else they got going. We need to tear that shit down. As much as niggas say they want to see the system burn down, you will never see that. You'll see them tear down the upward mobility of black shit. So that's what you see all the fucking time. And niggas is too ignorant because niggas don't follow history and too dumb and love to be taught that and educated through fucking social influencers, entertainment, the celebrity and all this other shit. The celebrity ain't the movie stars. Celebrity is these social media niggas that a lot of you dummies follow and shit. That's why Trump associated himself in his campaign with social media stars. Why some of you fruitcake niggas crying because Kamala had Megan Thee Stallion and shit. Niggas should have been happy about that. But the failure that Kamala had is that most of these niggas out here is gay. You should have brought motherfucking what's that dude? Nas X to that shit. And these dudes would have jumped on Kamala campaign and shit. But going back into the shit with the community. So you start having the Asians and shit in Washington and whites. You don't see really blacks in this shit. As I'm going through the yearbook. You move into the early part of 60. Plus you can redline all this other shit. You didn't have many black families there. Then you start having some black families to trickle over into there because more talk of the civil rights shit and covering the issues within housing, the discrimination and shit. So now you start seeing in this high school population, you don't see no black teachers in this motherfucker. You approach the 60s, you may start seeing 2 or 3 black people. And the black people you see ain't dark. They're light-skinned ass black people. And then you may see about out of the whole student body you may have seen in this, as I'm going through this shit, maybe like probably wasn't even 20 black people or maybe 1,000 kids at the school. The community, the school grounds, well managed, landscaped properly, water, you don't see a dead, nothing in this shit. The uniforms they provide for the different programs kids are in, well funded and shit. You move into the about 63 because the riots happen and this is the crazy shit with the dynamics in South Central, all of America. South Central I'm gonna represent is all of America's major cities and shit. The lifeline of American society is these major cities where blacks populate this shit. Going to the early 60s, you start seeing a few more blacks. Blacks may make up like 4% of the school fucking population and shit. Not the administrative staff. Administrative staff still about 98% white. Then you move towards the civil rights shit, the Watts riots. That's the breaking point. Now you cross over into into about 67 and shit. That white number. So now you think, where did all these white folks go? That's the strange shit. How did all this housing open up? Where did all these white folks go? They were all throughout this community. All of a sudden, they're gone from the fucking school within about a 5-year period. And now you start to look when you get into after the riots, right into the 70s. Now you look at where you see, even when you look at the styles of black folks at these schools when it's a white school, before this rise in this black power movement, which swept throughout America and also ran white families in a fear. The black girls wear their hair straight, pressed, looped up. You don't see braids. You don't see cornrows. You don't see afros. None of that shit. You approach the 70s when these movements, socially conscious movements, start sweeping through there. You don't see no whites. Matter of fact, you may see like 1 or 2 whites in the 70s. This is less than 15 years. All these motherfuckers gone. Now the kids are wearing afros. They're wearing dark black. They represent everything you see when you watch inside the Panthers, because these kids are now going through some shit. And they're really going through the pressures of the system, fucking with not only them, but their parents as well. And now when you look at Washington, as I'm going through this, you got to go rewatch that episode I did on that shit. Because I think I love that episode the most because that's what I want to touch on more. And this is shit I've always been talking about. I've been on this kind of shit since a kid. That's why it's like, can't nobody tell me about black shit. You can preach that black shit to other motherfuckers. I've been this way since a kid. I come from the heart of gang banging. They never crossed into that shit. I've always been on black shit. But so going back to the school, and what you see, you begin to see the trees at the school, palm trees all around Washington in the area. Now the trees are dead. That football field, which was landscaped so perfectly, so beautifully green, is now dead. It's mud patches. Other parts of the school is dead. They don't have shit. And you don't see a white person there. Now you look in the administrative staff, all black. The whites have vacated that motherfucker. There was a few whites left. But now things change with that school, the funding and all that shit. That's the shit we up against in this fucking country. And motherfuckers want to act as if time moves on like it's some shit that happened a long time ago. Negro, please. And I mean Negro interchangeably to all races when I say that shit. And then, but like I say, I'm always schooling the whites in here. You're welcome all the time. And then Anwar says, And what God says the Trump supporters says ain't going to be happy, says about this one, says, but fuck them. Yeah, fuck these fools. These fools need to hear this kind of shit. Because it's so funny watching Trump supporters that I know was all amped up as that election going on. They praising Trump, and Trump gonna do this. He gonna get rid of these people. He gonna get the illegals out here taking all our jobs, and these lazy fucks don't go do none of them jobs. And people who can't even speak English are still here doing all these fucking jobs. And now these same people are crying because a lot of them didn't work. They were on these social programs. They're on the welfares and all that other shit. And that things are starting to collapse. And I recognize what's happening in the economy based on my commute now. When I take the 11 in, driving all the way into work, it's always used to be these huge jams and traffic and shit. Right as you start to go through, it's certain two like areas where you get these huge traffic jams and the bottlenecks and shit. And then where you get the merger, the 15 going across the 95, 93, 11, that highway for people live in Vegas or know that shit. You always get them bottlenecks. Now, for the last 3 weeks, it ain't none of that shit. The only time it's going to bottleneck somebody have an accident or you get one of these people that don't know American freeways. Simple as that. This fool is crashing the shit. And he fucked around and found out about why going in here with this rah-rah-rah cowboy shit, rah-rah-rah fools and going with the wind, representing the Confederacy before they got their asses handed to them and lose everything. Welcome to Gone with the Wind, folks. That's exactly what happens to America. And when people get to cry, I'm going to be like Rhett Butler in that closing scene in that classic-ass movie. I frankly don't give a damn. Kiss my black ass, goddammit. Suffer through that shit, bitch. Andrew Charles says, I was educated in private school, says in South America. That's your fucking problem. You a fucking foreigner, fool. You got that old talking Spanish shit and tostada education, man. This motherfucker. That's why you always wrong on shit. This old white ass South American motherfucker. I forgot you did say you was raised in Peru and all that other shit on top of the hill, riding llamas and shit to school. This motherfucker in here. Now he from South America and shit. This fool sitting here all day trying to act like his family got Civil War ties and they own a homestead and land. Now that Trump fucking up, this nigga probably come out and talk about his education in South America. Get the fuck out of here. And you a silver spoon motherfucker at that. This nigga, while South America poor, all them real South American kids, that's how you know he a white ass South American. All the other kids got to ride donkeys to school. They walks as far. This fool in private school and shit. Andrew Charles, homie. The more y'all talk, because y'all want to cry when you hear me talk about a guy named Donald Trump, and then y'all jump in front of the bullet, y'all niggas should go be Secret Service agents. And you ain't even got to go through the Secret Service Academy. You can show them how you jump on here anytime I talk about y'all whole ass president, and y'all ready to jump out here. Y'all crawl on y'all knees for that nigga. You'll get right on in. Oh, yeah, this is a good old dumbass. And they'll hire you right on the spot. You just show them how you jump on your knees for Trump. Because y'all jump in it. Like, y'all hear me put Trump and talk about this clown motherfucking TV dude. And then y'all act like y'all like in y'all brains is wired to be like, that's y'all name and shit. You fucking idiots. Y'all dumb like the nigga. Y'all parents might as well name y'all with his stupid ass parents named him. And then L5 player says, he says, don't know, doggy says it looked like they rolled out the red carpet for Trump. Sure. They rolled out the red carpet and the president didn't even show up. Trump showed up to China. He showed up to China, got off the plane, and that damn president was nowhere around. That president said, I got some bitches in this motherfucker. Take that nigga to the Holiday Inn. Aligato Inn. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't mean that old slob ass motherfucker. And there ain't no diss to my blood. Y'all know what the fuck I mean. Anwar says, YG and Nip said it best. Fuck Donald Trump. Absolutely. Fuck that punk ass dude. Matthew, the L5 player who calls himself You Can Behold and shit, says no different than any other president. And then Andrew Charles says, do you even know any of the deals that were made during this meeting? Not doing. That's why you that South American shit coming out in your English. You meant during this meeting, my brother. During the meeting. Yeah. China got everything they want. They got some high-powered chips and all type of shit. And they ain't gonna do nothing to open that strait. They're gonna say Iran just keep kicking us our oil. Fuck the rest of them. Iran them bombed the ship, Iran them boarded the ship and said we run this shit. Why this old dumbass president sitting here acting like he tell the news every day. If they don't agree to this deal, then they're gonna face total annihilation. Iran dropping Lego videos on them hoes, say do the shit. Yeah, we gonna open the straits and send them off. Well, I'm gonna pause the escorting of ships. Yeah, of course you're gonna pause that shit. They have no navy. They have no air force. Trump don't know what the fuck he talking about. They better work together and not get a nuclear. Oh, so they still developing a nuclear bomb? You mean that bomb? You flew these expensive ass stealth planes over and bombed and didn't do shit and paraded around that shit like the cops at the Uvalde school shooting? Who the little fucking doofus ass governor act like these police officers were such heroes until real information comes out and say them cops didn't do none of that shit. Same thing with Trump's bombing of Iran's nuclear site. And then it comes out that even Haig said Haig said just wasting our money. He wants to investigate. He wants to investigate fucking Scott Kelly, the astronaut, the military, decorated military officer, retired military officers, takes his pension and all that other shit. And they tell him, hey, say, shut the fuck up. You can't do none of that, ho. Yo, TV weekend warrior ass punk. Because Scott Kelly came out and said some real shit. These dummies have depleted the military arsenal. We ain't got shit. And then it's crazy how they don't even talk about them soldiers they found in Morocco dead. You know why they don't talk about those soldiers? Because they were black. How did they die? I don't even know. Black female, black dude. And then Matthew says, tell us, Andrew. He says, I want Reggie to say it since he's always right. I'm always right, brother, and I would never say anything you right. You should already know this shit. We've been knowing each other for years, homie. You ain't been right on shit. And then that's why you never jumped on a panel on none of our shows, bro. We know Andrew for almost 10 fucking years. And then Matthew says G. I don't know how you say XI, but that name's G. I think XI in Chinese means G or something. I think it's that name. That name named xijinping. What name? xijinping. Goddamn ping pong. Oh, what's the more video games used to play at the pinball machine? Ass name. And then named G says G looks like Winnie the Pooh. Says he had the character banned from China. Oh, they was calling him that shit. And then L5 player says China had many foreign leaders. Says leaders pull up. Says didn't have this kind of fanfare. He says didn't have this kind of fanfare. It says China getting hurt. Says by the Iran blockade. Says more than U.S. And this how dumb L5 player is, because I'm a cookie on that. I love when y'all write these comments. This is where I love when Trump lovers write comments that they don't know shit about because these niggas is idiots. And he says Trump was selling business ideals. Says business ideals to who? Trump is a bankruptcy artist, homie. Trump don't have ideals. Nobody listen to Trump ideals, stupid, but you dummies. That's how he gave you an ideal and you voted for him, which is stupid ass fool. You're the only niggas he can kick ideals to. Don't know rich people listen to Trump. He says Trump was selling business ideals. It says the U.S. been getting G'd by China. No, the U.S. ain't been getting nothing by China. China knows not to trust a bunch of untrustworthy white dudes from America. And that's simply what it is with China. The fact that these white business dudes who are con artists who constantly fuck over American consumers. China has the gall, China has the wisdom, China has the knowledge, and China has a historic study of America's white male politicians and their history of being untrustworthy with treaties, with deals, and conduct. That China's doing everything right and dealing with these motherfuckers and these motherfuckers crime. Now, you want to go into about the China being hurt by the blockade. This is how dumb you are. Everything manufactured comes through China. So now China begins to hurt these motherfuckers who want to manufacture shit over there, because now for China to produce it, they got to charge the damn buyer of that shit. So who's hurting who? That's why Trump running over there for China to go talk to Iran. And it's even come to the point where America's so ineffective. Why you think Trump ain't really pushing sanctions on certain countries anymore? It don't work. America ain't got the goddamn leverage anymore. Go ahead and put a damn tariff on. Go ahead and put a sanction against one of these countries. What you gonna do to stop this shit? You don't have the leverage. I mean, they don't even want to sell you shit. Nobody's partner with you anymore. They can bypass you and go to every other former ally of America. The United States is the new, what is the United States? Well, I'm trying to think of the word they call it. New Europe. That's simply what it is. And this fool is fucked off New Europe to align himself with a fucking little wicked Zionist bastard. Business people. And he has fucked himself. And the Chinese and the Middle East, the righteous Middle Eastern, not them Saudis and all the motherfuckers, have an understanding of never to trust these type of motherfuckers. Even black folks in this country, not all black folks, some black folks are stupid because they vote for Trump, but black folks with true wisdom know to not fully understand these people. That doesn't mean you treat all of them as they're wicked and evil. You know how to gauge these type of motherfuckers. The conduct is displayed from them. There ain't nothing hidden from these motherfuckers. This shit is clearly displayed and what kind of motherfuckers you dealing with. And only a dumb, the simple-minded motherfuckers can't read that shit. And then Matthew says, I think China eventually takes Taiwan, but Taiwan goes willingly. He says, and naturally. He says, according to the geopolitical source, Taiwan ain't gonna have no other choice. No other choice. And China wanted this shit perfectly. China couldn't wait for Trump's stupid ass to go into this war, to launch into the war. Now his nation is weakened. He's weakened where he has no allies. He can turn everybody against this motherfucker. The Canadians, everybody, unless the Taiwanese go broker their own deal with the Europeans and the Canadians and whoever else is out there. And then Anwar says Trump is a Jew man. Trump is the Jew man president. Yeah, Trump is a scumbag, an idiot, deranged, psychotic, demented. What's the other shit they got? All-timer having ass dude. And Andrew Charles says China is going to start importing oil, says from our refineries in Alaska. Believe that all you want. He says, which are closer than Hermes, says it's a win-win. This fool is such an idiot, man. This motherfucker doing everything to not get deported. This fool is stupid. Andrew Charles, I thought L5 player wrote that, but y'all both immigrants. I forgot that shit. Y'all both trying to avoid deportation. And then L5 player says if Xi would have seen Biden in his condition during his presidency, says China would have dropped nukes. That sounds like some old made up TV ignorance, some old uneducated shit. No country is going to drop the bomb on America under no Biden shit. Somebody's going to eventually use one of these motherfuckers if the tension around this world continue the way that Trump got it. But them using on America, it's no point of dropping one on here unless America go to attacking it. And you got Trump who is bound to try to use this shit on something. Trump probably gets the order. His order will probably be refused by an intelligent military person who will reject the order to fucking turn the fucking red key. No, to turn the key and push the red button for the funky motherfucker. But he's the only threat to using a nuke. Only America's only threat to using a nuke, L5 player. I'm too bad that you floated over here. You don't know nothing about that shit. Rafty ass motherfucking arrival. Yeah, a rafty. But not a refugee. It is a rafty and float his ass up over here. Anwar says, broke for Trump, laughing out loud. And Charles says, look what the UN calls Taiwan. Would never look that up. Says don't look it up then. Says it doesn't change reality. The reality is what you go look at the pump, what you go look at inside the stores, what you go look at inside of the cities. What I could go drive down the strip and I'll do it on a Friday and drive down and you see what has changed. People they rely on ain't here. Companies closing. They told these people down here at the state line where I go get my lottery tickets from. And as that shit has never recovered from the pandemic, these people, they have people living down there who work. They told these people, y'all got to get the fuck up out of here. This shit is out there in the middle of nowhere, and there's interviewing the people. These people are fucking losing their minds because they're not gonna provide them assistance to move. They ain't gonna. I don't even know if they're gonna provide them with severance. They like y'all because they got apartments down there. Y'all gotta get the fuck out of here. We shutting all this shit down. Nobody's come out. We don't have the travelers out here, any of that shit. And who knows, unbeknownst to anybody else, that damn fast train people probably done brought that shit, eminent domain that shit or something. But they telling these people they gotta get up and go. And those people live out there are poor. It ain't nothing else around there. It's just like a midpoint stop for refueling. If people want to buy cheaper hotel rooms or people on the way back to LA want to stop and try their luck and hit one of those casinos or grab some food before hitting the long stretch between Vegas and LA and shit, then they go down the Prim. Or people who live in Vegas go down there and buy lottery tickets, such as myself. And then Matthew says Trump says, and I knew that's probably going to happen because they build a service station not that far up from there where people go buy tickets. And then Matthew says Trump was selling business classes. Trump was selling business class L5 player. Oh, sorry. Trump was selling business ideals, which is what L5 player Flo T Rafton ass brought up because he loved Trump. Trump, the nigga who's shooting toilet paper at his fucking people on that island he floated from. Says, and Trump is in no better condition than Biden. Says, and at least Biden knew how to govern. Yeah, Trump be falling asleep. Trump look like he ready to die. Melania can't wait. Melania really can't wait till that nigga die. Melania probably hold his nose shut and shit. Melania probably be in that room like this. Bitch roll under the bed because she sure don't sleep with that nigga. She roll from under that bed and go to fucking like pressing that shit down because she want that goddamn money. She want that what's that shit they get? Widow benefit, whatever it's called. Y'all married motherfuckers know. Edward the Bill said, yo, Reg, he says, broke for Trump, laugh out loud, says Charlie was a pain in the neck. Absolutely, that motherfucker's a pain in the neck. And he got a hole in one in that motherfucker. Oh, hoe ass punk. Charlie Perk ain't shit. That's why his whore out here going through it. Because that bitch start to get out here and want to be a hoe again. And they eating her ass alive. Nobody give a fuck about that disgusting bitch and this disgusting way these whores talk. Like, bitch, you don't represent nothing or that punk. He probably, who knows? Then they probably came from where Angie Charles came from. He don't even look American. He's talking all that old backwoods redneck shit. They get him punched in his motherfucking mouth, talking that shit in Utah. He talked all that old redneck white shit in Utah and got his ass blasted in the whitest city, in the whitest state in all of America. Didn't nobody cross the wall shoot him. Didn't nobody from a gang shoot him. Didn't nobody black shoot him. Somebody that looks like the palm of a human shot that motherfucker right through his shit. Second Amendment right, pushing motherfucker. Dude with his constitutional right. Everybody who's trying to blast Trump outside this last guy they tackled has been, no, that dude still falls that category because he's part white as well. But everybody who's blasted at Trump or wanted to blast at Trump or had the idea of blasting them have been Barron Trump looking motherfuckers. You can't make this shit up when people just talk and they talk and don't apply, don't process shit from this motherfucker. They just talk that little shit granddaddy done taught them. That old granddaddy from Hitlerville come over here and teach these motherfuckers who, you know, been pushed out of some stank hole pussy. And then little spring break bitch. Motherfucker. Nigga fall in love, tricking on money. Don't even know the true father of this spring break bitch that ain't got pregnant. And then and the Picasso says, why are they dressed like each other? Says I think they buddies, says, and putting on a show. Says the world probably has an agenda. Says Putin got the same suit. Says don't Trump get his suits made in China. Says fuck all of them. Man, China would never align themselves with no Trump like dude. Because it's the culture. They don't fuck with American culture. They don't fuck with American culture because they don't fuck with white folks like that. You can't trust white people because of their history like that. They don't trust them. That's why when they start opening doors, it's just like, man, we control everything. We control everything. That's why America be crying, oh, they're manipulating currency and this and that. And their currency is way more highly valued than that and blah, 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 this and that. China, like, we ain't changing shit. We don't give a fuck. You go to international fucking court, cry your ass off and all that shit. You brought your ass over here because you want to starve your people out to feed these old glutton ass motherfucking billionaires that your country so worship. We ain't changing shit because you're rigging the game. You ain't feeding your people. You just trying to feed these small number of motherfuckers. And salute to China for not fucking with these crybaby dudes, because all they do is cry, and only a dumbass motherfucker with the mind of Andrew Charles and L5 player and the rest of these old Trump-loving motherfuckers will go and regurgitate these cries from these punks. Because these punk-ass people take all this goddamn jobs, or take all, let me stop talking how these uneducated motherfuckers write. They take all these jobs over fucking seas, this outsourcing shit, which has been going on since the 70s, which is also part of, let's bring it back to a black perspective again. Why they got to be smart of how this country goes about its targeting of black folks, because now we're going to where it's evident about targeting the black folks, that COINTELPRO shit, the planning of drugs, the pulling of economic opportunities, taking banks out of there. You can't get loans like white folks get loans to fund a business, to pay for a home and a car and whatever other shit, which is what's vital with banks. So you begin to starve them out that way, start the high rise in unemployment in these communities. And not only that, when there were jobs, you start outsourcing the shit. We'll take the jobs over there. First off, we don't want to pay these unions, we don't pay you benefits. So now it starts spreading to white folks. The first thing was to threaten the black folks with that shit, to pull away from their community. Now the white folks begin to hit with it. We want to break their unions. We don't want to pay them that shit. We don't want to pay for medical. We don't want to give them none of that shit. We don't want to give them vacation. We don't want to give them a pension. And these old trick-ass congressional people, it ain't just today's congressional people, it's these older motherfuckers who have been in there for 30 and 40 years when this shit taking place, have allowed for unions to be broken, have allowed for corporations in America to take jobs over there for low wage labor and shit, if they get paid anything, or slave labor, and then bring them same products back here. And then I was reading some shit where they was showing about China released about what brand? Hold on. I think I know the let me see. I think it's on that same site. I've been pulling up these other videos where China revealed about what these motherfuckers be charging for like manufacturing of it was some shoes that cost $2,000. Damn, whose channel was that? I should have downloaded that video and uploaded it, where they were showing that China revealed where they making Louis Vuitton shoes or whatever high-end shoes, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, some shit. They'll make those shoes for $55. The manufacturing over there is for like $55, $40, some shit. And those same shoes will be shipped back to America for America to ship for sell that shit for $2,500 for the shoe. And because some Americans are dumb enough to buy that shit, the Floyd Mayweather minded motherfuckers and people want to be like them, but not the income of them. Let me see. China, hold on. China expose shoes. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this video to pull for me. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Factory claims. Oh, wait, this might be it. Factory claims LV sneakers. Cost, this is it. Here we go. I found one of them. Let's go into this one, where China exposed these stupid motherfucking con artist ass business people. It says Chinese factory video claims LV sneakers cost only $55. Says but sell for $22.50 here in America. Here in America, and there's people dumb enough to buy that shit. Ain't like it's a necessity to have them motherfuckers, but are any of the shoes, even the Nikes. But then you have people be like, man, you got the fake this, you got the fake that. Man, ain't no such thing as a fake fucking nothing when these people do it, have the same stitching, the stained foams, materials, and all that shit design. They the ones making it and shit. And then but Americans have been it's all part of the program where Americans believe in paying a higher cost or paying shit at a premium and feeling as if they're better than something. When these people can, and that's where you allow these people to control shit like a faucet, where people start they can turn your water off and shit. Says and then Anwar says, Chud the stud lover, laugh out loud. Oh, that fool Chud the bill about have it bad in prison. He about to look like the motherfucking them dudes in Vegas beat up. Like when I seen them fools in Vegas beat the dude up who did the shooting yesterday in the store where he killed those people, and he came outside and those two black dudes whooped his ass. Now I thought they like, you know, may have punched on him and this and that shit. They showed that fool at court. That motherfucker shit was fucked up. I said, that's what I'm talking about. They gave that motherfucker real ass whooping. They ain't give him no low, like lighthearted love taps and, you know, trying to get a punch in and hope you don't hit another motherfucker help you. That fool was putting beats by Dre's on that fool. Then they went to court because they say he had a court date to beat the day before he couldn't go because he's in the hospital still. He go to court, that nigga eye look like it's gone and shit. The other one black and shit. I'm like, yeah, they whooped his ass. Good work by them brothers, man. They deserve a major award from these scumbags in Vegas, and also people in Vegas support Aaron Ford. I need to make a video. I'm endorsing Aaron Ford for governor in Vegas, and he'd probably be the first black governor. I'm pretty sure that's definitely true. Saluting our I'm endorsing our Attorney General Aaron Ford, black guy. And then Matthew says for governor, says allegedly says smoke by white boys, says but even we don't know, says who was really behind it. Says Erica Mossad, says because Kirk was against Israel. Says the FBI fucked up that investigation, laugh out loud. Wait, didn't the kid live who claimed, who supposedly had done that shit? The kid is still alive? Like Charlie Kirk, but no, I don't think it takes all that secrecy type shit to do that. It's a lot of way out shit that comes up out of these privileged ass communities and these privileged ass kids. A lot of shit that these older little bigots try to set and play for them, create unfair advantages and shit, it fucks these kids up psychologically. These kids just want to live and exist amongst the rest of us. That's why you see so many kids, white kids, picking up on how niggas overreact about hearing white kids use the N-word and all that shit. They want to interact. They ain't caught up in a lot of shit. Some of them, you may get the chud and pussy ass Charlie Kirk type people that buy into that old ass, punk ass, old man racist shit. And the old man when he was young was nothing but a bitch, but then get old and act like he was somebody and shit. But for the most part, the white kids want to intermix. They don't want this division shit. They don't want to hear that shit. It's unfortunate. You got to get on that shit. Andrew Charles says you cried when Chug called you when Chug called me N-word. You ain't never heard me cry about nobody right in here. That's why people don't come over here and use the N-word, because I can clown. I don't cry over the N-word. If I was offended enough, the person in front of me, I'm probably gonna swing on you. Like, you ain't gonna hear me cry. I don't believe in that crying shit. I don't know where the hell you get that shit. Mix me up with other people. He says you cried when Chud says call you an N, says but support killing people, says who just want to have a civil convo. Nothing was civil about a conversation from Charlie Kirk. You sound ignorant and stupid. Charlie Kirk can act like he's been civil because Charlie Kirk can't fucking fight. So Charlie Kirk want to do this offensive shit. But a black dude, the people who Charlie Kirk offend did not harm Charlie Kirk. This is the laughable shit about all that shit. The same shit with Trump and his pussy ass want to do this shit about the Central Park black kids who were wrongly accused. But before those kids and that lady was attacked in Central Park, Trump's mama was beat the fuck up in New York City by a white kid. And that white kid free. I'll be wishing you can find that motherfucker. Get him on here like Crip, man. Let's interview that dude. Because I want to ask him, man, what kind of combination you hit that old bitch with? Because that's what his mama, you know, his mama didn't like him, but she is a bitch because she pushed the whole ass motherfucker out her cooch. And then in the Sean Edits in the Bill and Salute, he says Chug a racist, says who loves getting pegged by black women. Yeah, and that's the crazy shit. There's a lot that come out with these white dudes who get on that kind of weird shit. There's a lot of shit comes out questionable about their sexuality. And that black chick who could be lying, but probably more than 99.9% is telling the truth about what she was doing to the white dude. Because a lot of shit that if you did, like, remember that shit, taxi cab confession shit? And now that they got YouTube, if you had the confessions on this motherfucker, a lot of these chicks would be talking about the shit, because a lot of these chicks get on here and talk about the shit that they do to these fucking dudes, and it's disgusting. And the majority of them be people who talk Spanish and white folks who talk English. And it's a small percentage of black folks that do that weird shit. And then these chicks hold a lot of secrets to shit. But these chicks do a lot of weird, nasty shit. That's why I be like, I ain't marrying none of these bitches. And then Matthew says there's all these Kirk conspiracy theories. Yeah, that fool got what happened to him was what happened to him. He got smoked. A white kid got tired of him talking that dumb shit. Probably, I got black friends and I don't want them hearing this disgusting shit anymore. And then in the Anwar says that Crib Mac says that Crib Mac was funny. He says where the sig. He says where the sick cootie sitches at. Yeah, that motherfucker, them C words and all that shit. What you said? Cause I can't even pronounce that shit. He was calling himself is this how you say collation? Like the hell is a goddamn collation? That fool crazy. And then Deuce Time, this other thing y'all didn't get, which it was so funny as fuck. Cause Deuce Time, my cousin, that nigga, but we gotta give nephew CJ credit for that shit, because that shit wouldn't popped off without CJ. CJ put that together. But this nigga Deuce Time was funny to me is the fact because Deuce Time was fucking blood. And it's the thing with LA cats that get into that shit is this how divisive they become with this gang shit. And it's a long history and bloodshed and trauma that people go through that they caught on. They can't let shit go. That's the dangerous path that shit's set on. So when Crib Mac could be saying shit like rolling, like he said, West Side Rollers, Deuce Ty say some shit in there like, yeah, whatever. And that nigga, I was like, this motherfucker here. And then that nigga said, what else he said? He said something. He said, yeah, we said that collation shit. And he said, well, nigga, I use B. Well, whatever, homeboy. I was like, oh my God, here these niggas go with that shit. But it was certain shit like that on some LA shit about language and shit in LA and certain shit that is a diss or certain things that is a way of representing what side of shit they on. Because you got a lot of the Crips. Everything with Crips ain't just about one thing is Crip. You got neighborhoods, it's gangster shit. And what else? It's some other division. It's like some complex shit in it. And people use certain type of language. They use hood. They may say blood, this and that, or whatever they saying. But he kept saying on hood. Or he'll say on West Side Roller. That nigga Deuce is getting mad at that shit. I like this nigga crazy, man. All this fool crazy as shit. But that shit was funny as fuck. That's why I've been clipping that shit up, putting it on Instagram and all that shit. That was a good episode. That was a good episode. But I think the dude's gonna grow. Like this with me. I ain't with all that divisive shit. I think people can represent their neighborhoods. The gang shit is very important. World across this fucking country. That gang shit is important, but the gang shit gotta be away from dope head motherfuckers, drug head and alcoholic motherfuckers, and people understanding the importance. If you understand the history of being in this motherfucker, it's simple as that. You ain't gotta attack a motherfucker over no goddamn color or this and that shit, beating on people for no reason. Like, get the fuck out of here. But the fact that over time, I think he'd be able to sit down and talk with somebody from Hoover. It ain't much that separated. And then a lot of times we related to these motherfuckers. It ain't that much difference from a blood and Crip outside of the history. Crips are wrong for that shit they started off, but that was started by teenage dudes. And a lot of times when you listen to them, it's important to listen to some of the older LA gang members who have wisdom, that don't glorify that shit, who have learned from the mistakes they made. And a lot of them who you may hear, because Kev Mack have a lot of them on this show. Matter of fact, Kev Mack have all of them that you probably listen to, and as well as Alex Alonso and Street Gangs. But you look at them and in their mindsets as kids and them coming up out of this oppression of the American system that turned a lot of these kids hard, that turned their parents into being hard. Their parents chasing love and all that shit. And shit in the household fucked up. Shit in the community fucked up. These little white punk ass politicians that China and them would never ever trust, fucking off shit for not just the black America. The black ones the first way. The whites folks start to feel the effects of it as well. Except when their hair is blonde and blue eye and shit. They give a lot of the income and opportunities to people who have the easiest jobs, who don't even dirty their hands and have to bust their knuckles to work hard at shit, to build shit. They buy and trade and shit. And that's where it seems to be where you earn the most money, which is weird to me. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then Matthew says, if it wasn't says it wasn't a black guy, he says it wasn't a black guy though. Says it was white on white crime. Absolutely. That's what it always be. Some of the most hostile shit you see in this motherfucker carried out by white folks. You give a fuck what state you go. Most crazy shit. And even when you look at 9/11, that's some shit started by some white folks. 3,000 people lose their fucking lives over these scumbag white politicians fucking around with these people. And 3,000, you can call them innocent people, lose their lives. Vegas, white guy going here. They just turn the blind eye to this niggas. It ain't like he came in his first trip to bring 100 rifles to fucking Mandalay Bay. This motherfucker came here, brought the biggest room you can get in this motherfucker, leave, go. Where's Mesquite? Mesquite, like 80 miles north, like right at the border of Nevada and Utah. Go down there, go to his house, grab a bunch of fucking rifles he's been buying, drive the motherfuckers all the way back. Not that he carries them, he has the bellhop to carry this shit up to his room. Leaves, go back to Mesquite for some more of that shit. Tell the bellhop to bring it back up, and he probably laughing inside. Like this hotel and this motherfucker don't even know what the fuck they are creating. And the fact that this good old white skin lets me slip right on by, and I'm about to do some shit that they never forget. This is going to be some shit that they sit here and fake of the unimaginable. Like, get the fuck out of here. And he sat out there while them people listening to that offbeat ass, terrible fucking music from that old country rock artist motherfucker. And then that white dude, and then even who ran like a bitch while the dude busting at him, but it's the only thing to do. But that white dude tried to come out and act tough, like he acting tough on black folks, and his career is faltered because he's a bitch. Nigga, that tragedy of that dude killing all them white folks in Warren wasn't done by nobody black, wasn't done by nobody from what this shit Trump talk about crossing the border. It's a white guy. What's that fool named? Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean, you need to learn to shut your pussy ass the fuck up. But I think your career is gone. I don't hear nothing about Jason Aldean. I don't listen to country, but he a bitch. And then Edward says, Crib Mac interview was funny. Yeah, that shit was funny as hell, man. He was a cool dude. It was cool to have him on here. He more intelligent than I thought. Nigga's still crazy as shit. And then, but a great dude, man. And I love the fact that he's making his money. Hopefully he's saving that shit. This is the type of shit I'll be on. I ain't on this sucker shit that niggas be on. I'll be wishing the best for these dudes because you don't want to see people out here fucked up. Because when people out here fucked up, it leads to where you have to watch motherfuckers more. You run the risk of you doing some shit and now you end up in jail over protecting yourself around fucked up people because they leaving people out here fucked up. Like I did a video earlier where I see a little midget out here fucked up in the streets begging for change, fucked up. All type of shit going on out here. Reason why so many girls having to sell pussy and what they want to do, outlaw shit. There ain't no other opportunities in this motherfucker. But then they're panning around what kind of deals they closing and shit. You get dummies like motherfucking L-File player and fucking Andrew Charles talking about they setting up business ideas. Nigga, please. Motherfuckers about as dumb as they fucking get. Yeah, that's why I be loving to do these shows and hearing what y'all write in the chat. Just so I can identify you as a stupid motherfucker. And it's still out of love, because I think some people need to be told they're fucking dumb as fuck. And then Matthew says, Acosta says facts. Says in the Trump Bible, says made in China too. Yeah. Because of the funniest shit I always remember is Jimmy Kimmel. That's why Trump be trying to get Jimmy Kimmel canceled. Is when Trump, I think, was not even a candidate. This is when he doing that birthday shit with Obama. But he had the TV show that was running. Then he had fucking merch that was running as far as his business line. He's selling ties and all that shit. And I used to have his ties, but I brought his ties at Ross. Because when Jimmy Kimmel did that shit, that nigga clothing brand kind of went in the tank. That motherfucker, Jimmy Kimmel brought him on to embarrass him. And Jimmy Kimmel pulled out them ties and looked at the tags. All that shit was from China. Then he had some other shit. China. And a lot of people start dumping that nigga a tie. That's why his clothing brand went dead and shit. Why he out here selling sneakers. That nigga ain't even wore a tennis shoe. What the fuck Trump selling sneakers for? That motherfucker can't even jump off the fucking ground, let alone shoot a basket. And then Andrew Charles says your high school is legendary. Says your high school's legacy says the literate gangbangers. Congratulations. No, it ain't for gangbangers. My school is a school where people who look like you got beat the fuck up and ran the fuck up out of it. That's the legacy of the high school I come from. On top of gangs, but the initial legacy of that school was beating up people who look like you. You couldn't even walk around that school without you shaking in your boots, and the people wouldn't even harm you. But you'll be terrified of that motherfucker. And they ran people out like you. That's what that high school's legacy is. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Why you thought you was being offensive, but I am the great offender, homie. Like shit, niggas be saying that y'all gotta talk that shit to black channels that will cry about you riding shit and talk about racism all day. I ain't that motherfucker. And then Sean Edis says they don't talk about how the government says made it easy for them to take flight. Says the GI Bill says in federal highway construction says made it easier and cheaper to build homes outside the city. Yeah, it was just like crazy how these fools just vanished out this motherfucker. like this shit is way the fuck out. And then Anwar says spot on about Lil Nas X. Yeah, these fools would have supported Kamala. She'd have brought a dude out there to twerk and do zesty shit like these niggas do in their house. And Anwar says boys being boys, laugh out loud. And then L5 player, look, float rafty ass nigga using the word liberal. This fool is ignorant and stupid. Liberal white says live in cities. Says, but won't live around hood people. Neither will conservatives, dummy. The fuck you bringing up liberal? That's how you know you're an immigrant, homie. Are you a conservative, dumb white? Conservative whites don't live around blacks. Liberal ones don't either. The fuck you talking about? This is you just spew out dumb shit. We're the liberal. Bring the conservatives one on, because I don't think black people or Latino people even have a place within conservative political movements until it's time to trick you for a vote. That's how dumb you are. He says, so they sequestered themselves except for occasional so-called minority men hating lesbians. And then Matthew says, he says that Estavencio says 1500 to 1539 says the first person, as well as the first person of African descent, to explore what is considered the present-day United States in 1525. And then, see, that may be, I don't know that history, but there's so much history out here that is lost or trapped in someone's book or archive. Sean Edis says, yeah, says we got all them type of schools. Chicago says from Catholic to magnet. Says to state-funded schools. Says, why do we have so many avenues to schooling? Yeah, you can't go to this school. You got to lie, use somebody's address. You want to go to a good school and shit. Like even the school, I remember I was going to one of the schools when we came back to California. When I moved with my relatives, with my sister and them, and I think most people was going there had to use somebody's address. You knew if somebody lived in the, what was it, Cerritos or one of the little neighboring cities over there. For like people out of Compton to go there. Was mainly black people was coming from Compton and shit. And you use somebody's address just to get into the school. Because the school that provided more versus Norwalk, which in the city where they live in Norwalk is a predominantly Mexican school, which Norwalk used to be a predominantly white area. In the same effect is they pulled the funding from that shit. Same thing with Linwood. Linwood used to be a predominantly white city. Compton as well. And it's just wherever city you go into, once them white folks pull out and run away, now all of a sudden these schools these communities become to where they act like you ruined it and crime is going up because of you ruined it. And now we got to get the police sent in there to help fix crime, and they don't fix a goddamn thing. The only thing they'll fix is your motherfucking rearrangement of your head and your face. They striking it with a baton and shit. These fools don't have a solution to shit. The only solution is to create further issues, to further destroy. That's simply fucking it. Until these people are real about where the future of America should look like, and America ain't white, and it ain't no conservative, and it ain't no fucking, it ain't a system that should be structured by Trump and none of these Republican bitches. They can't set what America is to see for itself at all. And if the people fall right in line to that trickery, then the people shall suffer. Because you're gonna always suffer because you motherfuckers is hoes. And then in that war it says white flight is what it's called, red. Yeah, that's why I was telling my kids about that shit. Cause we was going into all that shit about the communities, about gangs and the need for gangs, how gangs start. Cause like I thought as black folks unionizing in these communities we move in, because in smaller numbers, white folks gonna do just like you find in areas where they lynch. The shit that Emmett Till goes through. And the fact of what they done. Had they had gangs and the organizing of black folks and black folks standing up, this is why that black power shit terrified these niggas. Because once that movement started, when that shit be popping, you standing up. Everything's psychological than a motherfucker. You psychological, because that's what you see with a lot of them blacks in them towns they come from. They psychologically weak as fuck, but be the ones they use to do all the work in there because you physically strong than a motherfucker. You know, a physical level can't fuck with you, but your psychology is so fucked up. You, oh yes, sir. I won't look at that white woman. Eyes don't see her right now, sir. Eyes are blind. Amazing. They turn to Ray Charles and shit. Georgia, oh, motherfucker, look at this bitch. Fuck, you better move over. Shit. That's why I used to always do that shit. People think I crazy when I was when I used to have this one job, maybe like people in like executive motherfuckers. We working in this warehouse for R&R Donnelly and shit. And they have where they tell you when we work, they telling us you walk in these little line little lanes where you walk because they got forklifts and shit moving through the plant. And so when these executives come in, they side by side with each other. And most people walk out the way of the damn executives. I walk right through their ass. And then you already know what they're going to do. You do some shit like they're going to turn back and look. And I'll turn back and look at them. And keep on walking to my machine where I'm at. Oh, them is like this old, who was this old, whatever they in their mind had, this old uppity N-word and shit. Like my mindset is you niggas walk behind each other. You move the fuck over. And if they gonna do that shit, I'll walk right through their ass. And be able to walk right on that path. And they be looking like thinking they're gonna walk around. No, because you let that shit plant in these niggas' head that they're above shit. Nigga, you ain't nothing but a regular human who has a position in this company. You may be making a certain amount. You use that power to go buy you some shit that other motherfuckers can't afford because your income may be this and that. But all that shit you think you powerful from a standpoint of physicality and man-to-man shit, the ones who I walk through, you a bitch. It's other people you may challenge that you have a tougher fighter, may lose that fight, but still, as a man, fuck you. And it was simple as that. That was always meant to be make an example of straightening out the dumb shit in society that so many people have allowed to come in this shit. But that's the thing with the gang shit of not just having, and especially out of California, Californian blacks didn't play that shit. That's why I take pride in being like a West Coast black motherfucker, not this new age shit, because a lot of niggas come from the drug age of shit. And that drug age of shit wipes people's memory out of shit. Of taking pride in being just a black motherfucker from this motherfucker as being a West Coast black, a Californian black, from a historic standpoint, not these no jumper shit that you see. And I hate to disrespect those black dudes talking about the no jumper blacks, but even in that mindset of standing up, because they don't have a knowledge of what it is to be a California black, a West Coast black, and understanding of the gangs dealing with the white folks as blacks begin to move into these cities and shit. And they'll try to jump on you to where you form your group of your friends and shit, and you begin to whoop their ass. This is why you have a lot of shit and white mothers want to come out, try to scream at you and this and that. That's why a lot of black mothers used to be so confrontational back in the day. And their kids watch that shit. That's why so many women, this confrontational shit with the women. It has come up out of you, your parents having to jump in on these white folks, checking them about shit, as well as foreigners coming over here, picking up on white shit, and you having to check them and shit. But now these bitches done lost their fucking mind. And then he says, but yeah, that white flight shit is the same shit I'll teach my kids about today as they were talking about this Crip Mac shit. And then L5 player says, you bring a white, says you reap says, all right, you bring up whites in disdain. No, I don't. I bring in, like, this how lost you are. When I'm speaking about whites, I'm talking about racist whites. I ain't talking about all whites. But I forget because the niggas so shallow-minded that maybe I need to detail shit a little bit more. Because I think I keep talking about racist, bigoted ass whites, and I'm pointing out specific type of white folks. But then you seem to know that shit because you talk about person being in support of liberal whites and all that other shit. But then you act as if I'm talking about all whites. I'm talking about the most disgusting, vile type of people. That's how fucking lost you are. But you ain't a person with attachment to America. You're new to this shit. Like I say, you're a floatee. You floated over a rafter. And he says, white trip about them moving out of these neighborhoods. Why this how damn you just lost, boy. You just a white kiss ass. You must clean white homes too. It's the same thing. You move into a community with them. Why should they say anything to you? This is this rise, and when the internet comes out, they have even created a term for white entitlement, and especially amongst the women, they label them as Karens, and they even got a label for the dudes. Like, get the fuck out of here. This boy, kiss ass dude, want to be white. Even white folks know what the fuck you is. They don't accept you. They just need you when the elections come up because they know you stupid. And then Matthew says to L5 player says your claim requires context. Yeah, fool talking about my disdain for white folks. These fools are simple minded as fuck. And then Sean Edis says it's really teenagers and college students says who start the movements. No, that's a fact because older people ain't about to be with that shit. Older people are kind of in their roles and providing for their families and shit. And they shouldn't have to frontline a lot of that shit. And then Andrew Charles says it's 2026 now. Says turns out the whites were right to move out of those areas. No, this is what happens in any area, any of the white areas. So imagine what happens with white people when economic opportunities are pulled from them. I love when you white people like Andrew Charles and write comments because I love to just school you dummies. And it make you think that you may need to take your time. They moved out and all this shit happened because they probably were part of what was happening, the drugs and the other suppression of shit, the job opportunities, manufacturing moves, other corporations moves that were there when the whites were there. But the thing that happens with even whites who come from good areas to where, say these are whites who are making the money, they go into these nice suburban areas, they're upper middle class, that when their world is turned upside down from an economic standpoint, you know what they do? They kill themselves and they kill their fucking families. And if they don't do that shit, they turn towards drugs like a motherfucker. So now they have created a situation inside of an upper scale community that exists within the hood. I mean, do you get that shit? Like the fuck out of here. You don't know what you be talking about. You're a fucking dude who went to South American school. You ought to see that shit. But you a dude who just loves to paint shit as the blacks are the problem. It is no different. If you pour drugs into these communities, put guns into them, and took away their opportunities, these white folks would do the same thing. Oh, no, these white folks have shown a history of that. It's where the American Civil War comes from. Oh, dummies. And then Anwar and they're rolling at these fools. I love when these dummies write comments and shit. But don't write to me because I want to get off of this mug too. Wait, how far am I? Oh, no, I'm too far back. Yeah, cut the comments. I'm glad y'all entertained and enjoyed the topic. And then Sean Edis says that's what pisses the sorry. Let me look at the TV because I can't read screens. So that's what pisses me off about Civil War. Says you had black folks says fighting let me move this comments out of here. Hold on. Says you had black folks fighting on both sides, killing each other, says for dumbass causes. Yeah, because once again, you get the plantation-minded, the whip-minded black who doesn't know any different. He'll fight for them. And then white folks, knowing they're getting their asses handed to them, they need this black slave because of what he's able to do physically and shit. And he don't know what he's fighting for. He got on Confederate uniform, not knowing they want to keep his ass under their fucking thumb and shit. Anwar, they're in their rolling, but the ones who fought, who escaped for their freedom, they knew what they were fighting for. Was the bigger cause, was on the other end of that shit. And then guess who ruined that shit? Same system of white folks who go about reneging on shit. And the reason why China and the rest of them can't trust these dudes to sign deals and treaties and all that shit. Trump comes in and he ripped up a lot of deals and agreements they had. They don't trust them. You want them to cry about shit. You want them not to have nuclear bombs. They don't trust you, motherfuckers. History tells them they'll be a fucking fool to sit back and do nothing. Same thing with Africa in the history of that. Sitting back, not doing nothing, not knowing there's a wickedness about to spread across the planet. A wickedness as people sat back, just want to live peacefully. Not to do evil and wicked shit, to develop shit to kill motherfuckers and, weaponize fucking disease and shit to kill off people. Like, get the fuck out of here. All these countries is receiving this information. They understand what the fuck they dealing with. Like, fools is crazy out here. And then Edgy Charles says you brought up my education. Says, not me. You said you went to private school in South America. You're an immigrant. You stay in the house. Well, you almost look white. ICE probably won't even know what to do with you and shit. And then L5 player says biggest complaint with Trump says more illegal immigrants says need to be bounced out of here. Says lead the women. Says if they're look good. Look how this motherfucker. This is how you know he a foreigner. Talking about Trump needs to take out more illegal immigrants. And he comes from an immigrant family, but he can't even write proper fucking English when he write. He learned the word, but don't know how to use the word. Clear sign of a person ain't from this country. Says leave the women alone. Says if they're look good. Says it ain't criminals. Man, get the fuck out of here. You should send the people who families come from Germany back to Germany then too, right? Poland, Scotland, England, all that shit, right? And y'all people just be saying the dumbest of shit. Matthew says, and these Trump supporters got their SNAP health insurance subsidies and hospitals cut off. Says, and these Trump supporting farmers are. I was just about I didn't realize you put farmers because the farmers are another thing. There's been a lot of shit about farmers losing the farm. Farms that have been in the families for generations and they haven't walked away from them. And now where do they go? Do they stay poor in rural areas, or do they try to move out to the city for more resources? And Anwar, and a lot of them can't cope with being in the city. Their mindset is rural. Anwar says the biggest problem with Trump says his money is looking funny. Oh, this money is disastrous. Money is disastrous. That Wall Street shit, up and down like a roller coaster. He says, where my AK at? Oh, that's why I tried to tell my cousin about that change he wasn't getting. Doge in their line because they knew a lot of people voted for him over thinking they're going to get paid and shit. Thought Trump come in and they get paid, not knowing the history of Trump. And the fact that Trump talks immigration, where the fuck is Elon Musk from? He from everywhere and shit. Sabre-Faire is everywhere. That's motherfucking Elon. Motherfucker rat ass dude every fucking where. And then Sean Eder says, Andrew says, hold on, let me wait for this shit shown on the TV. He says, Andrew, a bitch, white flight, says, Andrew, a bitch, says, white flight exists, says, because y'all just didn't want to live next to black people. Says, little dumbass, says, all them programs were invented for poor white people. Absolutely. Same. It goes it even for black folks. We both go in the military together. They try to keep black folks from even using the GI fucking bill. Because to be honest, that's the real reason how black folks start to get into these communities and shit, become first-time home buyers. A lot of black people who are mainly going to home ownerships were a lot of the fathers who were veterans and shit. Finally being able to use their GI bills after the white GIs and brought up all the homes and buying second homes and shit. But then again, you tell them you set a rule. We both serve in the military, but our GI bill ain't good, or we can't get access to the shit, or it ain't being accepted by fucking real estate agents. Like Andrew don't know shit because their family's been in another country. This is why some of these people. That's why it's important for black people to know fucking history and have knowledge of shit, not using the shit to bend it and turn into this fantasy shit that so many black people on here sit here and fucking do. Turn everything into some old fantasy shit and God of War bullshit and fuck out of here. Keep shit just truthful as the fucking history has been with it. Motherfuckers got to package shit up to make them feel good and all this other shit. Man, leave shit for what the fuck it is. If it's feel fucked up, then it's better to feel it that way. So therefore, you know what you're working with. But like I say, these fools ain't even from here. Their families ain't even from here. They can't say shit about nothing. Real motherfuckers don't listen to these fools. I call them for what they are, fucking foreigners. And then Matthew says, let's deport El player to El Salvador. It says, I prefer illegals. Yeah, this fool is family illegal. And then Andrew Charles says, is that what you think? Says Iran is running shit. Iran is running shit. Same thing like I told you with remember when that Russian Ukraine war started, how you talk about that war been going on for how long, Andrew Charles, like 5-6 years? And you talking about what Russia is gonna do to crush them? Ain't finished shit. Always right with your boy, homie. You don't be knowing what you're talking about. Always right with these fools and what they do when they get in office. Always right on Trump, homie. Fools don't know what you're talking about. And then Picasso says, I hate Vegas rush hour traffic. Says, I be thinking Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan is gonna jump out of nowhere. Says the direct traffic get it. Shit. No, if you lived in LA and shit, you can deal with fucking Vegas rush hour and shit, or New York, but nothing worse than LA rush hour because so many people drive in fucking Los Angeles. That shit is annoying as fuck. That Vegas shit, yeah, it can piss you off, but Vegas ain't that damn big. You can get anywhere. You can get from each end of the city in 30 minutes in good traffic. LA is that LA shit, man, shit. It be say like to go to like in rush hour, you can something close. You can go somewhere close, man. It may take you something that can, if it's no traffic, it's just clear. You can get there in like 15 minutes. LA traffic and shit can turn that shit into like a whole hour to get to some shit. Like that shit pisses me off. That LA shit is, oh my God. And then Otto Box is in the building. Salute. He says you little Custer says on 55th. These fools love that Crip Mac shit, man. These fools, was that a lot of y'all first time ever seeing that Crip Mac? But no, Crip Mac like famous and shit. You just don't realize how famous he is and shit. And then Anwar says Pete, he says Pete needs to give me my $8,000, says that was promised, says by the Orange Man. Shit, is it? No, that ain't Pete Hegg said, John. That's whoever this nigga done put in front of what, the Treasury or some shit. And even his own stupid ass self, or wherever you getting this money and shit. And then it's funny, you collect all this tariff shit, and that money gotta go back. Which I don't know why the money, and it's the crazy shit. The money going back to corporations and shit. Nigga getting the money to the corporations, getting the is who the money go back after you done went in the store and brought all this shit. But the money go to corporations. They get to file the paperwork. It's crazy. And then they claim they're losing shit, but your money is going in there, what you got to buy from. That shit is way out. And then Matthew says in those $5,000 Doge checks, I always knew that shit wasn't going to happen. Trump just be blowing hot air and shit. He talks a lot of shit. Doesn't live by none of it. And then Andrew Charles says if I heard they fell off a cliff or some shit, says, but I ain't heard much, says really in the news. Man, what you talking about? Says I heard they fell off a cliff, says or some shit. Oh, you talking about them soldiers in Morocco and shit. That's a fucked up way to die and shit. That's a fucked up way to die. This is like some fool they found in the Grand Canyon, but I don't think he fell down that shit. It be like that shit the Grand Canyon when I be seeing people doing that dumb shit the Grand Canyon. I be getting mad when I see people, but then I be like, if that motherfucker fall, fuck him. This stupid ass motherfucker. Like, if you ain't been to the Grand Canyon, go to that shit. You come to Vegas, that's shit people need to go to. You come to Vegas, go to the Hoover Dam. That's why I be like, people so stupid, bro. People don't want to go see like historic shit and natural wonders of the fucking world. Like, niggas just come here to be stuck on stupid. Like, you got the Hoover Dam in this motherfucker. You gonna get the history behind that shit. You watch these videos on that shit. Get your knowledge up of that shit. Then go visit the Hoover Dam. People, why that shit is so vital. Why it was vital for the country during that time. Then you can go to the Grand Canyon. Now, that shit is some shit to marvel over. That shit is like, I don't even know the words to use to describe the Grand Canyon, but that shit is like wow. But then you find people do dumb shit. That's why people be dying there all the time. They want to sit on the edge. And mind, the Grand Canyon, this is how crazy that shit is. And then it has this for me, and I heard other people feel like this magnetic force or some like gravitational force where it feel like it's pulling you in. There's parts of Grand Canyon where all this shit you get out there and you see nothing but flat land. Everything's just like flat as fuck. Ain't no like mountainous shit, hills. This shit just flat. And then you got these big ass drop offs, just straight drops like for fucking 5,000 feet at some points. Then this shit is wide as like what is this shit? From 2 to 5 miles wide and shit. And you just looking, it'd be people on the edge of the shit wanting to take selfies looking back. And some of these people can lose their bearing and shit, or you get that vertigo shit. And these people fall over in this shit. You get these people who this shit, I don't know if that shit pulls people into a trance and they're being pulled closer to that edge. This shit, there's some like force at that shit. Me, I don't be trying to get on by the edge of that shit because it give a feel like you being pulled by this shit. And then but hopefully that ain't happen with them soldiers. And then Anwar says, do Trump got more bankruptcies? Says our ex-wives. Probably both of them. He probably got more bankruptcies. The hoes just leave that nigga. He get the tricking on that stale ass pussy. Trump don't know what good pussy is. So he just, they get taught that shit because them niggas so lame within the type of teachings that come from white supremacy. They don't even know what good hoes is. They just base shit off of boy shit. They homos. They look at look at hair of a bitch hair, and as long as her butt flat. That's like, it's like high quality bitch to these dudes. These dudes is weird. They want a bitch with hair like theirs. While they talk about, oh, she's a blonde or a brunette. Like, man, what kind of weird shit you on? Like, damn, the bitch caked up. Like, what she look like? What her face? They don't based on the chick's face. None of that shit. They looking at her fucking hair. And then what does Hitler want from little boys and shit? Blonde hair, blue eye, just like a bitch. Like, these motherfuckers is weird as fuck. So that's what take place. When you look at, that's why his kids look fucked up. They come from ugly ass mothers, and then the daddy ugly. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a balance of that shit. If you ugly, at least make sure the kid's mama look good. This nigga Trump just fucking gotta pay. He gotta pay. He want the nut in these bitches, and bitches said that's gonna be a little bit more. That's gonna cost you a little bit more per month. That bitch ass nigga paid for that shit. He paid per month just to bust in the bitch. Oh, fucking trick ass dude. And then that's why he ain't never cracked a bitch off a gang. These bitches be in there ready to fuck any of these Epstein ass dudes. Them kids' parents is prostitutes. That's what I tell a rich kid. Then your mama's a hoe. I go fuck that bitch. Tell that bitch I done hit the lottery or some shit. Salute to my brother Mark Naz. I see you in the chat. Now I tell that bitch I hit the lottery, and that bitch will be choosing up. You can go fuck the bitch. Like, first I got finger bang you, bitch, because I think the shit stink. That's always what you should do when you're dealing with them little fake high sedity, little blonde head bitches who all that matter to them being skinny as fuck. That's why I be seeing when I go to motherfucking going to fucking Whole Foods and Summerlin and shit. I walk around, these old skinny ass bitches be thinking they fine as shit. Like, bitch, where the fuck is the ass at? Like, and they be wearing spandex. You see nothing but coochie print from the back of their ass. You ain't even gotta look at the front, so the bitch don't even know you looking at her pussy. Her ass so fucking flat. You see her motherfucking pussy in that motherfucker. That motherfucker, she better hope she washed her stinking ass, walk around like Melania and shit. Now, these bitches ain't got nobody. Titty look like a polka dot. Like, the fuck is a titty on this bitch? If they do got a titty, that shit filled with silicone and shit. Motherfuckers ain't got no body and shit. And then Anwar says, oh yeah, I read that one. And then Picasso says China buying up property, he says, and down there every country around the world. Says Queen Elizabeth says stole 6 billion acres of land, says around the world. Nah, not Queen Elizabeth. Her family stole that shit. Queen Elizabeth came around when that family ain't really got none of the power. They just there for fucking tradition and shit. And they got wealth and shit. And then oh wait, hold on, let me go back into that shit. It says I gotta read when it come on the TV because the screen, my eyes ain't adjusting to the light off this laptop. Hold on. He says Queen Elizabeth stole 6 billion acres of land around the world. Says it's probably up for sale. Says in China buying it. And this is where when y'all see I can't read y'all comments, y'all be like, this nigga Reggie slow. Play the Reading Rainbow is because of this computer screen. and the light bouncing off. My eyes are sensitive to fucking light too. So I just use that TV. That's why I always had this shit in my ear, and then I have this shit on the TV. I really use the TV to see, because I'd be so far behind in the comments to see when new comments come up, but I had to move them since I'm using the TV. And when y'all had the long comments, which I like, because you get to express yourself and show you can write. Edward says, spot on, says, but the China do got a lot of undeveloped land. And then, yeah, and then China is looking out for its people. China's been able to pull its people up out of the lowest levels of economic, like they were just economically suppressed. And then they've been able to figure themselves out through America taking jobs away from motherfuckers. Europe doing that shit because they don't want to pay its people. And then Matthew says he got 6 bankruptcies, says that I know of. Trump does. Says I think he has less wives, says but all that should tell everyone something. Yeah, he got wives, but you got name the bitches he be tricking on this shit. He be spending that money. Or that's why he started the Epstein shit. He got tired of paying them old grown ass bitches money, and he started messing with the minors who he can go buy lollipops and shit for. That's why they should arrest that nigga. That nigga was really doing that shit. That's why he was in China. That nigga whole brain lifted up. That fool woke the fuck up, because you know Trump going through that little sleepy phase in his life and shit. That nigga got that what's that shit? Motherfuckers just fall asleep anywhere. What they call that shit? Narcolepsy. That nigga got narcolepsy. He seen all them miners over in that motherfucking China and shit, and he couldn't hold it back. He even spoke on that shit. And Chinese said, "Yo, gluttonous pus popping ass body ain't about to be touching these kids." You ever watch that show? It's the Asian lady. She got the show called Dr. Pop. Trump got a lot of that shit. That's what that nigga body looked like. It's filled with them old pus ass things. You pop that bump on him and pus come out. Trump looked like he filled with that shit. That's why he got all the marks on his hand. That nigga body filled with pus and shit. And then and Sean Eddy says, he says, I never understood why Iran didn't get those surrounding Arab countries to join them, says under Islam, says, and create a superpower in itself. Because them fools been blinded by wealth and by money. And as simple as that. They've turned on each other. Muslims are feudal with each other as well, because I know it's a different type of Muslims over there. And then Andrew Charles says China doesn't operate on malice or grudge like we do. That's why China don't trust these motherfuckers. I'm glad you wrote that, Andrew Charles. You learning from your boy, homie. You learning from me. Not your boy Trump, but you learning from me. He says China operates on what's best for China mentally, says mentality. Says they have 50-year to 100-year timelines, says for their plans. I don't think their plans go that fucking far out. I know I've heard they make like 10 and 20-year plans for their country and shit. 20 years is too far out. I mean, 50 years is way too far out. You can't predict what other changes come out, technologies and all that other shit. And then Matthew says, Sean, he says, because Iran is Shia Islam and Persian. Says those other Muslim countries are Sunni. Oh, yeah, see, you explained it. Yeah, they got different type of Muslim shit. He says are Sunni and Arab. Says they're not allies. Says more like frenemies. Okay, see, that explains it. So I knew it's something up with that shit. These fools, some different kind of Muslims. And then Matthew says they from 5'5" Muslim. That's what they is. 5'5" Muslim. Most sitch ass motherfuckers in Iran. I mean, sorry, Iran the homies. Most sitch ass motherfuckers where Turkey Alex Sheik from. That's the other shit I was tripping off of. Even when Turkey come around, when niggas become hoes for niggas with money, they call that nigga excellency and shit and all this other crazy shit. And then, but that goes back to psychologically where niggas can be physically more domineering than a person, but when motherfucker got the money and shit, psychologically these niggas become weak. L5 player says China's Iran's biggest customer, says when it comes to oil, says, but you keep believing, says logic based on skin color, says, and inventing theories that make no sense. You just don't even know how to apply shit. China may be its biggest customer. China ain't the only customer. And that's based on how many barrels per day they're purchasing from this fucking country. There are many people who rely on oil from not just Iran, it's from that region, dumbass. Like that strait is where multiple fucking oil producing countries are. So even these countries can't get the oil out to their customers, you dumb fuck. The fuck you talking about? And then Sean Edis says, and that's what happened when you're a knee walker for Trump, and then you're a foreigner on top of it. You're a foreigner. You like oil, motherfucker. A shipment of oil is what L5 player is. Your brain's stuck in the Strait of Trump. You fucking idiot. And then Sean says, yeah, this nigga like the oil shipment and shit. Yeah, fucking foreign ass motherfucker. They imported your ass over here on that damn raft from some old Ford pickup truck that one of Americans left over there and shit. Your ass like they tie a motherfucking inner tube around this shit and float. And then Sean Edis says then Iran says got two armies. Then Iran got two armies basically. And then Andrew Charles says you think I made that up? Andrew, bro, I don't take your information, bro, unless I have knowledge on it. But me to take your information, you've been wrong on everything. Hell no, I won't listen to you. And then Anwar says Trump is losing his mind too. Yes, why he ran over to China, trying to beg them to talk to Iran. Please talk to Iran. I've been trying to get deals with them, and I make deals, and they make laughter at me. They make fun at me. I try to make a deal. I want to end this war. No, Iran don't need to accept no war. You shouldn't have took your monkey ass over there, talking all that tough shit on TV about what you're gonna do to these people. Call these people to a meeting to go kill their motherfucking leader and shit. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then Matthew, that's how despicable these motherfuckers is, and why people don't trust these type of leaders. People world leaders trust America when they have maybe a black leader. I think there are more, even the Europeans are more trusting when America had its black leader. Like, these motherfuckers despicable. You can't trust these dudes. And then Matthew says, yep, 100. And then Sean Edis says, Matthew says that makes all the more sense. Says China does it, does it, bro. Says it's either get down or lay down. And that's how you gotta be. You gotta be with that. America has a history. America is a nation that has enslaved motherfuckers. America is one of the nations that has poisoned the fucking planet. America is the cause of this global warming shit. America is the cause of destruction of the ozone layer at one point. America's the cause probably in the rise in radiation. They've dropped nukes on each other. They have put the world at danger of a nuclear threat through this Cold War shit, which is over nothing to protect other Europeans who created crimes. They have caused a genocide of people in other lands. They have created genocide here. They support another group to create the new age version of American genocide over in fucking Palestine and shit. So why wouldn't people be rushing to develop nuclear weapons to protect themselves against that shit? You don't know what wild, crazy, deranged, old motherfuckers, some weird people in American society vote in and shit. These fools crazy. But then Russia shouldn't have been interfering in that shit. Russia interfering because they know the ignorance of American people. Now they can interfere and sway niggas how to vote. And Russia realized that move kind of was a fucked up move. And then Anwar says the L5 player, behold, I don't call this nigga L5 player, behold. And then he says where my AK at? And then Sean Edis says, Matthew says that's how all those Arab empires got so big as well. And then Matthew says Iran is Persia though. And he says it's a difference. Says if our player says Reggie is racist against Spigs. I don't even know the fuck a Spig is. I'm not racist against anybody. I just call shit out. I'm not, and that's how people get the twist on what is racist and what is not. And that's why racism in its current form is the same as its historic form. It's nothing has changed with it because these type of people have been allowed to exist. Because when a motherfucker like me talk about this shit, people like you think you can stop me or deter me by trying to call me a racist, but ignore these motherfuckers. Like, you fools sound. This how I know I'm living in a society of dumbasses. These motherfuckers be thinking I say racist shit because I say shit people ain't accustomed to saying because they are part of status quo shit. The same old rigmarole ass shit. Like, you motherfuckers crazy. Bow down to shit. Andrew Charles says they had no idea the difference between Arabs and Persians in the chat. And then and Sean Edis says Persians are Muslims as well, says just Shia. And then Anwar says, I heard Vegas says pay WWE says $10 million to WrestleMania a few weeks ago. I don't know how that worked. $10 million ain't really shit for to pay a company like that, I'm pretty sure WWE demands some more shit than that. Shit, the venue gonna pull in more money than that. And then he says, Shawnetta says, I'm sure they could come together under Islam if the United States and Israel says doing it. They would have did that shit to support stop America from having to help Kuwait. Them niggas didn't help Kuwait, didn't stop America from doing this shit, the Arab Spring shit. And then because they ain't got the military, they gotta beg America to protect them and shit. That's really what that shit about. And then Otto Boxer says, he said, Red says, that's crazy. He says how the country gambling capital, Las Vegas, says won't let y'all have the lottery because of the casino shit. Vegas for this casino shit, it will interfere with the lottery. Probably interfere. Well, I think it will too. It interfere with gambling revenue, and then they need to take your money. So shit, and then that way the state control. I think the lotteries control. Oh, I don't even know how the lottery is controlled. Or do other states that participate in that shit got to share in the revenue? So no, they want their own revenue from casino tax. And then Anwar says, and then the casinos don't want that. It says Erica says the pass around chick. Yeah, Erica is, because these fools is suckers. These fools is suckers. Even these bitches when they fake that old Christianity shit, which ain't nothing but devil worship. When you see bitches look like Erica Kirk. Talk about they Christians and all that shit. You got to reverse that shit. They playing April's fools. Their religion is April Fools. Anytime these motherfuckers talking about Jesus Christ and this and that, that's the devil they talking about. They trying to trick you. These some bait and switching ass fake religious motherfuckers. You can look at these bitches. Yeah, that motherfuckers are devil worshiping shit. You go in their church and they dancing with snakes to a beat from off a guitar or banjo and shit. And then you wonder why you hooked in on that shit. Them fools' religion is a cult. That's why the music fucked up. You can't rock to the music. You don't be wanting to stay in the church for that shit. And hell no, you stay away from any of that Christian talk from these motherfuckers. They don't believe in no God. And then Matthew said that's why China don't trust the motherfuckers. They even recognize these niggas in their religion talking Christian shit is fake. You don't see these fools going to church. And then Matthew says it's two different. That's why they can disrespect the damn Pope and all that shit. They don't believe in none of that shit. Niggas gang banging with religion and shit. Trump showed that shit. And then Matthew says it's two different. Sean says Sunni and Shia Islam. Says it's not coming together. Says it doesn't work like that. They've probably been killing each other for the last 4,000 years and shit. And then let me see. L5 player writes. Hold on, let me wait for it to get on the TV. He says Biden knew how to govern what? Says a coma. Says dudes are Democrat fanboys. Says they hate us. Says they hate y'all. Nigga, I'm American. I don't give a fuck about that Democrat Republican shit. Even though I don't fuck with Republicans because they pieces of shit, un-American slave. The slavery system of shit. And then Anwar says I heard Andrew Charles says trying a piece of Erica's trying to get a piece. You meant. Trying to get a piece of Erica Kirk. He got to have some money. You know, she prostituting that cooch. Picasso in there rolling. You know, blonde head, spring break looking bitches. Anytime you looking at old spring breaker looking bitch, she's selling that twat. That's how them fools be having. You know, the white dudes show up to spring breaks on they daddy's boats and shit. Be thinking they player. Nigga, you about to pay that hoe. Them bitches up there pulling titties out because they know you gonna pay for it. And at the end of the day, they pull up a motherfucking They pull up the little accounting roll. I flashed my titties total 35 times. 35 times 152. Hell, fuck, gotta give her the boat. Shit, goddamn, I wasted all my papa's money on brews. All my papa's money on brews. Motherfucker gotta trade the bitch the boat. Didn't even get laid. And then Sean Edis says the primary goal of the United Arab Republic was to establish a single unified pan-Arab state, says that would eventually include all Arab nations. Says Arabianism, says, but it doesn't work. And then I wouldn't want to be part of nobody group. It's just like, man, just live in peace, get along. But all this shit, because pretty soon you try to form little coalitions and shit, some nigga gonna want to take over and shit. And when they can't get full control, they're gonna start that infight. And that's what happens with the gang shit, all that shit. You just gotta learn how to have people to live autonomously, man. Just leave people alone, let them have peace. just know right from fucking wrong, and you punish what's wrong. And then Matthew says the L5 player says, which means you got to create a penitentiary system. Says during Biden's presidency, says you had no new wars by choice. Says no civil unrest. Says I think that's knowing how to govern. Says, and that's already better than Trump. Thank you. That's a fact. That's a goddamn fact. Andrew Charles says the difference goes back. Says the difference goes back way before Sunni and Shia says was a thing. And then say I don't know nothing about these Arab people and shit like that. I just know they old and they civilization's old and they be still beefing over that shit. That's why beef ain't good. Beef ain't good. It's like you had Deuce and Crip Mac ready to beef over certain blood and Crip language. Sean Edit says, Matthew says you crazy. I think that's as hell, the ASL. How did people create ASL and mean it make as hell? That's some crazy shit. Why ain't no H in it? Says you crazy as hell. Says if you think it don't work, or you meant don't. Says if you think it don't work like that. Says the Ottoman Empire says allow Jews to be in their empire. Says it's not about your belief, buddy. I don't know about that with the Ottoman Empire. I don't know about that Jewish shit in their empires. I don't think Jews live like that in the Ottoman Empire and shit. So I think the Jews are in Germany for like what, the 1,000 years before Hitler kicked their ass out. And then and I could be wrong, but I don't remember when looking at this history or hearing anything about Jews in it. Jews probably a small portion of the population, just like Jews were a very small population in Palestine before they brought them there. L5 player says emotional political talk, says our Kate, he meant Cap, says our Cap for Democrats. Yeah, where the hell you get this Democrat shit? Like it's some split. Fuck that. I'm a Democrat. What the fuck that means? You sound stupid writing that shit all the time. Like, damn, you listen to these Pete Hegseth motherfuckers and think that shit. It's a party that's a political party, which is what controls the American system that should work for the American people. Not to say, oh, we just gonna do it for Democrats. Fuck them Republicans over there. This ain't no C murder track. Get the fuck out of here. Regurgitating that stupid ass shit. You old flotation device ass nigga. Them motherfuckers stupid. Can't even think. Regurgitating some old redneck bimbo shit. They ain't even the redneck bimbos that y'all regurgitate the shit of these old NYC Manhattan high-rise living motherfuckers. They never touched the sidewalk ass people programming out what type of shit you talk. You sound stupid. The Democratic Party is supposed to be an American fucking party, you fucking dummy. It's supposed to represent the American people like Trump is supposed to. You're president of the United fucking States. If these niggas can't get that and think everything's a divide and shit, or divide this race and that shit, and then Anwar says Andrew is in the DMs of Erica, says asking if she gives neck. Motherfucker, Andrew probably is how she probably fuck with you, man. That old lonely hoe. That bitch in there a straight rat, homie. She's straight slut. It's certified. That shit, that's what was killing her. That's why she came out. And then she gimmicky. Like she came out on that shit against Candace Owens dressed in all black. And got mad when Drewski did that shit. And then they took the shit she did when she came out talking about the gloves are off. They put the Drewski face on her. And that bitch is mad from that shit. She been silent ever since. In that little whack-ass organization she created falling apart. That guess what? Trump and them pouring a lot of money into that shit to push a white movement that they think are going to be the kids of Hitler. These little buster ass kids getting beat the fuck up because they're chimping out. And then Shauna says about the gold. All that white supremacy shit don't work. This is what I've always been saying for years. That white supremacy don't work. You got to look at the history of that shit. Motherfuckers ruined nations. That's why so many of them is in this country. And then Matthew says, L5 player says Biden doesn't represent me, nor do Democrats. Says, but they're better than Trump. Says, and those Republicans, you self-hating Uncle Tom. Facts. Because these people are supposed to represent you. Not to say, oh man, we're gonna stick it to Democrats. The fuck is sticking to a Democrat? That's why when you have that shit, you wonder why this country's being fucked over. Because they want to stick it to Democrats. There ain't nothing when you making decisions and policies that differentiates what the fuck a Republican and a Democrat is. Stupid. Fucking dumbass nigga, you dumb as fuck, bro. And then as you Charles says, Trump and Z says been dapping it up since all day on live TV. And shit, Trump been looking terrified over the next to that dude. Says Padres, says on live TV, says Padres and business deals, says in kinds of shit. You meant all, you forgot the word all, but I understand you raised in South America to get educated. Says that's why I'm a little confused by your commentary. No, you hurt by my commentary. My commentary makes you suffer that cognitive dissonance shit. And then Matthew says they're laughing at Andrew Charles. And then let me see the time. I'm almost out here in the next 30 minutes, even if I don't get through all these comments. Sean Edis says, hold on, let me wait for the TV. He says Gaddafi was uniting. Says you think, yeah, you wrote that shit wrong too. You know, I'll be like, I'm a school teacher on this grammar shit, even when I can't read shit right. Says Gaddafi was uniting Sunni and Shias. Matthew says, so you're wrong. I don't know about that shit because he sure didn't unite them though. He didn't unite them. I know he's trying to unite African nations. And then because matter of fact, he was in Africa. He wasn't in the Arab country and shit. Anwar says it's like the new $300 app watches or Apple watches, says that people are crying about. Says I don't get why people buy an Apple Watch. I don't get watches though. I don't get watches. I don't get why people even have watches. I just don't get it. That's some old timer shit. You got phones that tell you the time and shit. All right, this other thing. Why you shouldn't have? I wouldn't get a watch because I'd be like, shit. If I need to know time, I ask somebody. Shit. Hey, look like no dials on no damn watch. It don't know if the motherfucker correct. And then L5 player says Obama said black communities are the most negatively affected, says by illegal immigrations. Man, you don't be knowing what the fuck you talking about, bro. The immigrants ain't coming in here, ain't the issues. The problem is these American companies, bro. Like y'all can be duped by that dumbass shit. And it's people who are in jobs that aren't even where you even cross, unless you just like unskilled, lowly educated, then you run into the issue where immigrants affect you. But I think the thing politically where people don't want sometimes overblown about the type of resources they have access to and this and that people cry over. And that's some little political motherfucking mind trick that some, you know, the spreaders of misinformation and politics love to go about because they have some ulterior motive for spewing out this fake information. But they don't impact the communities and shit. You may not want to live with them because of the cultural differences and shit. But in some points they do, because then you look at certain things going into the education system, which is you see in our communities, but that's deliberately done to create this feud between it because it didn't have to be like that. Because whites deal with a huge number of European immigrants. They accept, you can see how they can segment where they want immigrant groups at. And the certain immigrant groups get certain type of access, they get backdoor access to certain type of funding. The more Europeanized you look as an immigrant, you go through the special channel that gets you up on your feet and gets you thrust to the head of even American citizens. This is why you don't see many like very pale complected white folks out here on the street struggling and poor. And you don't see that. And a lot of them are new to this country. They immediately get pushed up. There was some shit they had did years ago about Vegas. And when you look at Vegas and everything that takes place on the strips, these people ain't from this damn country. These people making money at these clubs and all this EDC shit, management in the casinos. Those motherfuckers be straight out of fucking Europe. Arriving here, you don't see them in here cleaning your hotels. You don't see them in here serving your food. They're somewhere up in the top of the executive room somewhere getting jobs and probably don't have the background. They're getting just access to shit. They can type some and answer on a computer and get an answer and act like there's some executive making great decisions and shit. Know your information, L-file player, but you too much of a lost delusional motherfucking one to fit in ass immigrant that you don't know shit. But I think that's why y'all come here. Aside of hearing me talk the way I talk on these type of subjects. L5 player says Obama said black communities are the most negatively affected by illegal immigrants, and that's false because the black community have been affected by what was going on before these illegals got in the communities we live in. they come at effects that were already put in on our communities and shit, which have made us kind of turn towards them and have them as a blame and create a wedge between us. Says Democrats on top of this country allowing people that come from these countries to bring drugs in this shit. Says Democrats says are important illegal immigrants says into the hood says, but y'all hate one politician. This nigga on his knees for Trump. He write that shit to protect Trump. Man, you ought to go enroll for Miss America so Trump can fucking pick your motherfucking ass. And then Sean Edit says several countries have governments featuring both Sunni and Shia Muslims, says, and have power sharing agreements. And then let me see. Shit, the closer you got with the Uniting of Arabs is that OPEC shit, and that shit falling apart. And then somebody pull away from that shit. And Matthew says L5 says both parties import cheap labor, says, because you ain't doing that work, says, and then complain about the cost. Yeah, because the corporations the ones telling them to bring the people over here. That's why he talking about the parties bringing over. The people come over and get jobs because the corporations are telling these people to allow access, open the doors for these people. We need X amount of numbers of these people in here. We don't want to hire no American because we want to pay this much. And then that's how these niggas don't be doing shit. And they let me see who comments. Alpha Player says, you sound like a dude, says, that get his political information from the show Entertainment Tonight. Oh, waka. That was funny, L5 Player. Let me see. I ain't gonna finish all these comments. I'm off of here. Let me see. I make sure I ain't missing nobody new into the chat. Y'all is killing in these comments. Shit, I couldn't even keep up. But these are the kind of shows I like. I like these kind of shows. I like cooking people with no information, like Andrew Charles and them and shit, because of the, they're raised by parents who don't got knowledge of shit. What's up, Blue Hustle, man? I see you in the building. See Mark in the building. Thrill Hill in the building. Salute. We go towards the bottom some here on these comments because I ain't gonna get through all this shit. Thrill Hill says U.S. con by the comment. Yeah. And he says, spent about 1/4 of my life, says, in other countries. Says, does that make you feel superior? No, it just makes me know that you're an immigrant. The same way these people should be deported, like you would say. But guess you think you're a citizen because they gave you naturalization to some shit. You have to go put your hand up and swear, I will defend America. You with the American flag when you're getting your citizenship, America flag on your shirt and shit, and wearing a USA hat. That should be funny when I see foreigners doing that shit. They flying flags in their car, acting all USA the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then Andrew Charles says, what do you think? What do you think is happening in Ukraine? Says, what does always right think is happening in Ukraine? Both of them bombing each other. Their citizens hurting. They're going to have to rebuild. Same thing going on with Russia. Soldiers dying, mothers fucking crying. Simple as that, dumbass Andrew. He says those soldiers that died on both sides, dummy. Russia is not with 0 fatalities in that war. That's been going on for 5 years. That they're forcing young men to have to go fight in war because they're dying. They're marking, they're rolling. I'm here, they're dying. They're saying, what's up? Says, build like us, build like a P. Yeah, motherfucker. But Andrew Charles, man, has 0 knowledge on nothing, homie, because he's raised by the wrong people. They can't teach him shit. They better teach him some shit about Spain and shit. And then Picasso says, that's what y'all should have y'all parents teach y'all new people about Spain and Portugal, where the hell y'all come from. And then Picasso says, he says, I've been to Hoover Dam, says, in the new bridge, says on I-8, to San Diego, says you be up high than the motherfucker. Says Val in Colorado, says you looking down at airplanes flying under. Man, he ain't that high up, fool. If I tell you looking down at airplanes, man, cause stop saying this crazy shit, dude. And then Mark says you hear Iran wants to charge for undersea internet cables in the Strait of Hormuz. Says shake my head. Says Trump and Bibi says really underestimated them. Yeah, I'm glad when Iran checking these pussy ass dudes. That's what the fuck they get, man. Trump the fuck. That's why he ran to China. He ran to China. Why they didn't have no cameras while they was talking this shit? Because China over there begging that damn Chinese dude. Like, please go talk to the supreme leader over there and tell him we sorry and shit. We'll send him some money because we ain't giving these Americans shit. We got a load of money to give this motherfucker to beg mercy. But tell him, please let me look tough in front of the American audience who I ain't giving shit to, because I don't give a fuck about Americans' finances. I don't give a fuck about American people's finances. The hell with these bum motherfuckers. I don't even like them around me, spreading their germs and shit. I hope they all die. That's what Trump says. That's why I'm creating all this robot shit. And then Blue Hustleman in the building says, what up? Says in the chat, says, good to catch you live. Yes, indeed. Man, should we be live almost every day or on the backup channel? We on the backup channel. I'm definitely going live tomorrow, do my celebrating for the Spurs and shit. Picasso says the epilepsy. I don't know why you wrote that. Says Blue Hustleman says, hit the like button, everybody. Says it's cooking. Picasso says Trump's skin is deteriorating, says, and his flesh is starting to bleed through like raw turkey. Yeah. He got all that pus and shit in his body and shit. You need to go see that doctor lady so she can pop them blisters in his motherfucking skin and shit. My brother SF in the building, salute. And the big dog Willie in the building. Damn, we ain't seen you in a long ass time, man. That nigga Deuce Time would love to say some disrespectful shit. Deuce Time might come out the motherfucking background to chat. Big dog Willie in the motherfucking building, man. Salute to my brother Big Dog Willie. Ain't seen you in a minute and shit. Nigga, Deuce Time gonna come out and say some old way out shit. And then Mark says, yeah, Red says these are my favorite shows too. Says YouTube cooking, says YouTube. Oh, sorry, not YouTube. Says you be cooking these knee walkers. Yeah, these fools straight up knee walkers, man. And it's just sad to watch so many of these grown ass dudes walk on their knees all the time for these fucking dudes. And then on top of this shit, this a grown motherfucker on his knees for a pedophile. Hey, you too old, L5 player. Trump ain't looking your way, motherfucker. Fuck it, you a little bit too late. Your boat floated over here a long time ago. Trump didn't see you and shit. And then Derek Franks in the building said, what up? Said, what up to the chat? And then that's all I got, folks. I made it to the bottom by skipping all the way to the bottom to get through all the comments and shit. But I'll catch you on the next one. Andrew Charles, Philip H. Who else is the little clowns from a clown-ass sector of American society? Mark Sumners, Jerry Tasker, all these old fools whose parents ain't ever taught them shit because of white flight got them away from real shit. And the SS says, file player says, AKA says, Cap King. This fool begging for his citizenship, kissing the ass of Trump. Because isn't that ICE shit that got you up here walking on your knees for Trump? Motherfucker rolling in snow. The motherfucker L5 player probably in, because it's about to get warm in New York. So that motherfucker he about to take a trip to Antarctica, go roll in some motherfucking ice, keep his skin from darkening and shit. But that's all I got, folks. I'm out of here. Peace. Oh, ice skating ass.